Oh look, they buffed the things. I wonder if they're any good. What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And in today's video, we are going to be going over the latest in-game updates that we will be seeing added into the game later on this evening with the latest reset. We're going to be seeing buffs to both Nameless and Ash Crimson, so we're going to be taking a look at those in today's video. And we're also going to be taking a look at a new World Drop event, as well as a really nice login event that we're going to be getting. So there's quite a bit to go through in today's video, so we're going to break it all down for you guys. But before we do, if you're new here to the channel and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into the news. And of course, if you guys want to read any of this yourselves, I will have links in the description to all of these. But let's go ahead and get into it. And we're going to start off here with the in-game event notice, because this is going to give us a little bit of information about the World Drop event. So as you guys can see here, this is going to be posted by Yuri over on the forums earlier on today. And these things are going to be going live later on this evening. So as you guys will see here, it looks like at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, adjust accordingly for your specific time zone. We will be getting this stuff added into the game. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here. So we are going to be getting, as I had mentioned, a World Drop event. Now this is going to be incorporating the World Drop event coins and not the World Drop event tokens that were like your letter tokens. So we are going to be seeing a rerun, basically, more than likely, of the last World Drop event, in which we did have to use coins in order to do this. So basically, the World Drop event is going to be able to give us the coins from the story mode, the epic quest, the power-up dungeon, and the advent dungeons. We'll break this all down in fine detail in tomorrow's video once it all goes live. We'll have to wait and see what the contents are of the boxes that we're going to be crafting using the coins. They don't really give us any information whatsoever. It looks like we are going to have mystery boxes as well as gold boxes again for this. So we'll have to wait and see. This thing is going to be running until the 22nd. So we're going to have about 12 days or so in order to grind. However, if this is anything like the last World Drop event, which by all rights it looks like it probably is, it's probably not going to be worth a lot of AP investment, more than likely. I'm just being honest, even if there are rubies in those mystery boxes, because as we saw with the last World Drop event, ever since we've moved away from using those letter tokens to craft these, those boxes have been varying degrees of less and less attractive, we'll put it that way. There's really that's the best way I can put it at this point. I mean, the last time we did this, we had a ton of people reporting their findings, and the amount of rubies people were getting from those new boxes was very, very low. So we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be able to be something that I can recommend you use your AP on, because more than likely you're probably going to want to use your AP during this time on other things, which we'll get into, but I digress. We'll have to wait and see what it looks like once it goes live. But we will be getting a new World Drop event, which is always exciting. Now this is something that I was just alluding to here. As you guys can see, we are going to be getting a lowered AP consumption for Epic Quest Episode 2. This is a huge deal. This is going to be running for only 2 days though, and this starts on 11/15. So this isn't something we will be seeing tomorrow, but instead we will be seeing this on 11/15. Keep that in mind. And we're also going to have lower AP cost on weekly battle card dungeon from 11/18 to 11/20. So basically we're going to have the less AP cost for the Epic Quest Episode 2 from the 15th to the 17th, and then the weekly battle card dungeon will see itself replacing the Epic Quest Episode 2 event, and it will be from 11/18 to 11/20. And really, you guys, that's going to do it for any type of in-game event updates. There isn't a whole lot here. This is going to be kind of a tide them over update, so there's not a whole lot of major things going on, but a World Drop event as well as a decreased AP consumption event for the Epic Quest Episode 2 is definitely welcome. Now, there is going to be one other mini event going on here that we're going to talk about, and that is going to be the push login reward event. Now, basically what we're looking at here is going to be a new login bonus, and this is going to be starting at it looks like, on 11/11, and we are going to be getting AP every single day for a while, you guys. This is actually pretty interesting. So for 12 days, running until the 22nd, so I'm starting to see a theme on the actual time frames on this stuff. If you guys pay attention there, looks like the 22nd is going to be when a lot of this stuff is going to be ending. But if we take a look here, we are going to be getting some All-Star Fighter summon tickets and some AP, as well as some battle card summon tickets, and we're basically going to get a multi's worth each day, and they're going to alternate, starting with the fighter summons and then into the battle card summons, and then vice versa each and every single day. But the one constant will be that AP. So pretty interesting. Again, this is going to be going for about 12 days, so this is really cool. I don't know if these are going to be time limited summon tickets. That's not something they really go into, but this is pretty interesting. This is a really nice login bonus. This is a lot better than the login bonuses we've been getting recently, and yeah, guys, that's pretty cool. So for those of you out there who still need characters off the unified banner, or if you're just a new player, that's actually going to be very valuable for you. So really cool stuff. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is arguably going to be the most important part, and that is going to be the revamped fighters and new package info. But the new package info really isn't all that important. Really what we're excited about is this. So we are going to be getting buffs for Nameless and Ash Crimson. These are the two characters that we already knew we were going to be seeing buffs for. Are they going to be any better? Well, of course they're going to be better, but how much better? Let's find out. Now, the first character we're going to talk about is going to be Nameless, but keep in mind, you guys, whenever they did this community poll, when Nameless won that thing, it wasn't by virtue of the fact that he was by any means the worst Fess in the pool, nor was it the fact that he needed it the most out of all these other characters that were in the running. He won based purely on popularity, and I know that this is something that veterans have pointed out a ton when it comes to how that vote went. So keep in mind that Nameless, for those of you who haven't been around for, past the past year or so, when we had nothing but unified banner Fess to use and we didn't have limited banner characters to contend with, Nameless has always been one of the best Fess characters in the unified banner. So that remains a constant, especially considering the fact that they almost never add characters to the unified banner pool. So he did not need these buffs as much as other characters. So when we go through here and take a look at these, if it looks as if Ash got more love than him, keep in mind that Ash needed it a whole hell of a lot more. In fact, Ash has been almost useless for most everything since his release. There's been very few things that he's been super useful for. At this point, I would say that really outside of high levels of reviving Hell's Dungeon, most people don't even pay him any mind, whereas Nameless is actually low-key very useful. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through here, but we're going to start out, like I said, with the Nameless buffs. Now, the first buff is going to be to the S1. So if we take a look here, instead of his S1 now having that PvP exclusive that disables the target's roll for 4 seconds upon landing a skill and strike active skills for 3 seconds when a successful skill guard included ends. So what they've basically changed here is now, as opposed to it only disabling the strike active skills for 3 seconds when a successful skill guard included ends, now he will be disabling all active skills. So this is a pretty nice little buff, although it is a PvP exclusive, and I don't necessarily think that any of these buffs are going to make him a tier 1 or tier 2 PvP character, but time will tell. Now the next one is going to be to his skill 2, so as S2 here, he is going to originally have increases attack by 45% of defense for 8 seconds when using the skill. Now he increases his attack by 45% of defense for 8 seconds when using the skill, and gains super armor for 3 seconds. So he is now going to have a source of super armor on the S2, which is really nice. And then if we move on down here, this is going to be on his S3. So on his S3, originally he dealt damage equal to 698% of attack to the enemy and became immune to damage for 3 seconds. Now he is going to do the same amount of damage and become immune to damage for 3 seconds, plus increase his attack by 27% for 7 seconds. So basically he is going to be giving himself some extra attack there, which is always welcome. And then we get into his cores. So basically on his Nest Test Subject core, Originally, he obtained 5% power upon landing a critical hit, which we all know that's one of the best aspects of his entire kit, on a cooldown of 3 seconds, and increased his penetration by 650 for 5 seconds. But now they have gone ahead and they have changed that, so now he is going to obtain 5% power upon landing a skill on a cooldown of 3 seconds. So this is an interesting change. This might be a lateral move. We don't know yet. Honestly, he was doing really well with this core originally thanks to those crits, but now he just gets it for landing a skill. That could be better, it could be the same, it might just equate to being something you don't see a major difference on, because you don't really necessarily have to worry too much about landing crits most of the time. It's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see, but it is something that could change him in a marked way, especially considering how good this core was originally. And then he increases his penetration by an extra 150, so that's something to keep in mind as well. So you're getting 800 instead of 650. So overall, pretty nice stuff. Penetration you always like to see. And then finally, we are going to have the Isolde core that is going to be getting a buff as well. So before it had a 25% chance for him to gain super armor for 4 seconds, and now it has a 50% chance to gain super armor for 4 seconds. So in general, he got a lot of help when it comes to his survivability. He did also get a lot of help when it comes to his overall damage output, and again, for Nameless as a character that didn't necessarily need a ton anyway, because by proxy of the fact that he's already one of the better characters on the Unified Banner, they're going to keep these Unified Banner characters below the power level of the Limited Banner characters always, you guys, so don't go out there expecting when they buff these characters that they're going to make them as good as Limited Banner characters. So be happy with what you got. In fact, I'm very excited for Nameless. This stuff could end up making him really, really fun again in PvE, so time will tell. I'm definitely going to be testing him out, but let's go ahead now and take a look at Ashe, because as I mentioned, I do think that Ashe got a ton of help here, and this could end up making him at least somewhat viable in other things. So starting out with the S2 here, the original S2 did increase your HP recovery by 50% for 7 seconds upon landing a skill, and decrease the target's HP recovery by 50% for 7 seconds. Now you're going to have a 70% chance to ignore the target's guard upon landing a skill, and gain super armor for 3 seconds when using the skill. This is a big buff for him. This is actually really, really good. This gives him a way to break guard, so you aren't going to have mobs just standing there guarding, and in PvP, of course, you aren't going to have to worry about your opponent just guarding, although I would argue that really anything PvP wise with both of these characters is irrelevant, because none of this is going to make them top tier. But in PvE, this is going to be really good for him. Of course, he gets a little bit more survivability with the super armor there, so that's always nice. Now next up here we have on the skill 3, we are going to have his original effect that read recovers HP by 1% every 1 second for 5 seconds and deals burn damage equal to 30% of attack to the target every 1 second for a 5-second duration upon landing a skill. Man, these things are a mouthful. Now the new one is going to have the addition of a 50% chance to reset the cooldowns upon landing a skill. Now this is on a cooldown of 15 seconds. My assumption is that this is basically reading that it is going to reset all of your active skill cooldowns. Typically that's how they word those things, even though they don't word them very well, but I've gotten pretty good at translating Netmarble speak, so my assumption is that this is going to be a full skill rotation reset. However, it might just be this skill, but I get the feeling it's all of them. This is a big deal for him. Again, he got some really nice buffs, but he needed it bad. Like, this character just, he had always needed help. So this is really, really nice for him. Ashe fans should be really happy. I'm not trying to oversell this. This isn't going to make him tier 1 or anything, guys. Like, he's still a Unified Banner Fest, but these are going to be really nice buffs for this character. And the Nameless ones were really good too. It's just that he didn't need them as badly. So next up here, this is where we start to get into the cores. So now when we had the original core, this increased our attack equal to 42% of our defense for 10 seconds upon landing an attack on a burned, poison, or bleeding enemy. Now we're going to increase our attack equal to the same amount of defense for the same amount of time when attacking enemies. So this is a big change. Now we do not need to worry about having a debuff or dot or whatever the case may be on him in order for him to get this. This is just when he's attacking enemies. This is really, really good for him and makes him a lot better in my opinion. And then finally here we have the final core buff. Now this one is basically originally going to give him super armor for 5 seconds when attacked while he is in a burn, poison, or bleeding state on a cooldown of 7 seconds. Now he's going to gain super armor for 5 seconds when attacked while burned, poisoned, bleeding, or in darkness for 7 seconds. So they went ahead and added darkness into that pool, and that is going to be a nice little update because before he was released, darkness didn't even exist yet when he was released, so this is a nice update for him to kind of keep that relevant for that core, but also give it a new dot there that is going to help trigger it. But then we are also going to get 20% power when our combo count is 10 or above on a cooldown of 10 seconds. This is going to help his overall ability to throw out those finishers, and in general, he does need a better finisher in the game, but at the same time, eventually when he gets a boss syndrome version, which is inevitable, that is going to be something that will probably come up and make him a little bit better. But in general, you guys, another thing that we need to keep in mind about these buffs is the fact that if they did change anything with cancel windows or changing the speed of these skills, that isn't going to be mentioned here, so we'll have to get these characters in our hands to figure out exactly what we'll be looking at in that department. But this is pretty good stuff overall. I'm pretty happy with it for both of these characters and the fans of either of these. Again, if you're a Nameless fan, be happy with what you got because this character's already really good. And then with Ash, he needed this, and this is a big help for him. So again, we'll have to wait and see. And then finally here, we do have new packages, and this is really interesting. There's one aspect of this at least that is actually really interesting and could mean a lot for the future of the game. So basically, we are going to be getting new packages. These are packages that are going to cost us rubies. Again, these are going to be after the patch, and they are going to be available until the 22nd. But when it comes to these packages, they're basically trying to sell you either Nameless or Ash in a package, and then they are also trying to sell you their memories along with a bunch of different items that you would use to build them up. So what you're looking at here basically for 2,500 rubies is you can get the characters respectively, so basically either Ash or Nameless, and then you're going to get some souls, some cores, and some gold. And then for 5,000 rubies, where it gets really interesting, is you are going to be able to get a memory for either of the characters, some more of the items that you would need to build them up. But the most interesting thing here is we are going to be seeing that we are going to have a attack moonstone for nests characters and nationality unknown characters. So this is a big change. Now, we had data mines in the data a while back that did indicate that these were going to be added into the game. However, we didn't really know what they were. This could change my perspective on this right now. I don't necessarily think these are worth the price. I think that's a lot of rubies to be baiting us for right now, especially if we're expecting a collaboration by the end of the year. But as you can see with these assets here, when it comes to these moonstones, being that moonstones are so tough to come by, these might end up being low-key really good and worth the price. But again, 5,000 rubies is really steep, especially if you're a veteran who already has both of these characters likely fully built. Then you aren't going to need a lot of what's in that package. So at that point, you have to decide, is 5,000 rubies going to be worth a stone? It's going to come down to what these stones do. If these stones, like for instance that Nests one, we can put it on a character like Boss Syndrome Original Zero or Ignis or any of these other characters that would be really benefiting from having a moonstone that is potentially going to be giving quite a bit of a buff. And again, we don't know what that buff will be or what those buffs will be, but we'll have to wait and see. Then it might end up being worth it. Time will tell. We're gonna wait, and we'll talk about it when it goes live. We only have a few short hours. But with all that being said, you guys, I do have one little thing I want to complain about just real quick. So of course, we did not see any type of indication of a SS generic memory event. I know that we've all been waiting for one with this latest SS banner. However, keep in mind that if Netmarble is planning a collaboration, that likely means we're going to be getting SS characters in said collaboration, which might be further indication that that is going to be a reality, but we do not know. This is all going to basically be speculation, but I am really disappointed, and I'm not going to be operating under the assumption that that's why they made this decision one way or the other. So all I can say is I am not happy that this did not come along with this update. They should have done something for a generic memory, even if there's a collaboration around the corner. I understand with that SS characters being in collaborations, we're probably going to get a generic memory or whatever the case there, but at the same time, time, I don't think there's any harm in giving us back-to-back events with a generic memory, especially considering the fact that people need a ton of those, so it's not like it's going to break the game to do so, but in the end, Netmarble's gonna Netmarble. It's what they do. So ultimately, my takeaways from this, beyond the fact that we aren't getting an SS generic memory event, is the fact we are getting a world drop, which is always welcome. However, time will tell whether or not that is going to be worth the AP sync, because again, the last one we got, we weren't really seeing the ruby yield on the return for our AP that we would like to see, so it might not be worth it. And then when it comes to anything else, the buffs for these characters are definitely the big highlight here for me. I'm very happy to see both of these characters get these buffs, and these should help them out quite a bit. I'm more interested to see, however, if they changed anything or tinkered with anything as far as their animation speeds or cancel windows. And then finally, when it comes to those packages could end up being really, really solid, but the big caveat there is going to be what they do with those stones, because that is the only thing that could make those worth that amount of rubies. Time will tell there. It could be something that is worth it, but I am very interested to see what those stones are going to be able to give our characters, especially if we can attach them to characters like our limited banner characters. So with all that being said, you guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this update. Are you happy about the buffs? Let me know, but I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Continue.